Reese, we're on an incredible site visit of Sranan Goldprojekt in Suriname, the Tapanahony-Projekt.
Yeah.
And we're at Randy's pit.
This is Randy's pit. Yeah.
What is this all about?
This is an artisanal mining pit. It's 150 meters long, a long strike, almost 30 to 40 meters deep. And we see multiple benches, a little bit badly done benches, but some extensive saprolite mining that had been ongoing here pre-2020. And just the mere size of it, the extent of it, especially standing here looking at it in person, gives you a different perspective of the extent of the mining that has occurred here. And this is within the saprolite, the upper parts of the saprolite, deep into the saprolite. And I think the only reason that they stopped was not a lack of gold, but ill-used mining methods. The depth got to them, the safety, and also water. And within this structure, in the beginning when Sranan Gold started, is where we got our first structural measurements from, where we got to understand the geology of what might be happening in some of the small parts that were left, some of the exposures that were left. That has helped us orient our drill direction.
Yeah, and what's incredible, we'll go to a drill site in just a second. We're actually exploring, of course, around this pit, and we're gonna talk about that later as well. Gonna explore underneath and past it as well.
Yes.
The saprolite is incredibly thick. I hadn't expected this from the images that we've seen before.
Yeah.
How thick this saprolite actually is.
In the Randy's pit area, the saprolite can be anywhere from 40 all the way to 60 meters. And we can see that the artisanal miners have nibbled away at half of that, between 20 and 30 meters of mining that we see here that had been ongoing in the past at an incredible scale. And, the only reason that they stop is because of their mining methods.
Yeah.
And now we see that there's also some shafts being dug where some of these miners try to go underground and, go after these narrow or high-grade veins.
Well understood.
Yeah.
And of course your drilling pad's over there. Perhaps you can orient us for a second. Where are we?
Yeah.
Where's the drilling pad and where do you think this system might be going?
So yeah, right now we're in the Randy's pit, which is a northwest striking open pit in the saprolite. The drill pads are right now between the 50 and 100 meters north of Randy's. We had some good intercepts like hole 4. We're a bit north of that. So right now we will drill a little bit more north and come back and start drilling Randy's pit towards the south. But we're slowly unlocking something that was, initially a 150 meter long northwest striking pit, into something that's longer, growing it into 400, 500, 600 meter territory. And then we still to the south of Randy's, beyond that wall, within the gullies, we have the trenches that we did earlier in the year. So we're working at both ends with the drill and with trenches to expand the mineralization that we know of.
And that expansion is of course going very rapidly as well, because like you outlined, this started like a 150 meter, 200 meter type pit, and now it's approaching slowly a kilometer, isn't it?
Yes, the more we do exploration, the more we unlock what is known. And the potential has always been speculated to be there. Now that we have drill holes, we are pinpointing facts, we have assay results, and we also have evidence of mineralization deep into bedrock. So we understand it better. We have oriented core that helps us guide the drilling a bit better. We have surface mapping from the trenches, and just looking at the structure really in a really practical but really detailed manner helps us to grow this. And I think what we're seeing here is that the extent of what is known is just biased by the amount of exploration data that exists. So the more we poke into it, the more we map around it, the more we trench, it will unlock what I think is an enormous hidden potential under the Randy's pit and beyond its extensions.
Enormous hidden potential sounds very exciting. Of course, like you outlined, you're currently drilling in the north, you're slowly moving towards Randy's and then going southwards.
Yeah.
What is interesting to me that you outlined earlier, there's no reason to believe that's going to be the best spot, hole 4, that you found thus far.
No, along the structure, yeah. You can imagine you're always biased by where's logistically more easy, and also about what's exposed to date. And this is part of a bigger structure that we associate to the Poeketi, which is north of the river, a 4 or 5 kilometers known mining trend. But that again is also biased by the fact that it's close to the rivers. That's where small scale miners have been, but it's part of a bigger structure that goes across the property, which is in the order of 10 to 12 kilometers. And we don't know because we haven't poked around in that zone, right? So we're just biased by what's closer or proximal to the river.